The steady drumbeat of questions around Donald Trump's relationship with the deceased sex offender Jeffrey Epstein is only getting louder today as a former American president is being deposed under oath. Because a former president can be made to testify, why not the president who appears tens of thousands of times in the Epstein files? At this moment, the House Oversight Committee is sitting down with former President Bill Clinton. Here's what we know about any ties between Bill Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein. Flight logs show that President Clinton took 4 flights on Jeffrey Epstein's plane between 2002 and 2003. Former President Clinton has appeared in photos with Jeffrey Epstein. Clinton's name appears in the birthday book compiled for Jeffrey Epstein's 50th, with a note allegedly from Bill Clinton. The former president has not been accused of any wrongdoing related to Jeffrey Epstein. And in his testimony today, Clinton says he stopped associating with him long before Jeffrey Epstein pleaded guilty to prostitution charges in Florida in the year 2008. The former president posted his opening statement to the committee on X. He called the committee out for bringing in his wife, Hillary Clinton. That statement reads in part, quote, "Before we start, I have to get personal. You made Hillary come in. She had nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein, nothing. She has no memory of even meeting him. She neither traveled with him nor visited any of his properties. Whether you subpoenaed 10 people or 10,000, including her, was simply not right." Democrats on the House Oversight Committee say that former President Bill Clinton should testify, but so should anyone with any information about Jeffrey Epstein. Here's ranking member of the committee, Congressman Robert Garcia.
We have real questions that deserve serious answers from former President Clinton. And we have said from day one that Democrats want to talk to anyone, whether they are a Republican or a Democrat, no matter how powerful they are, whatever position that they've been in. If anyone has information about Jeffrey Epstein and certainly the horror that he inflicted on so many women and children, we want to hear from them. Republicans have now set a new precedent, which is to bring in presidents and former presidents to testify. So we're once again going to make that call that we did yesterday. We are now asking and demanding that President Trump officially come in and testify in front of the Oversight Committee. He appears in the Epstein files next to Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell almost more than anybody else.
No one is more uncomfortable with Bill Clinton testifying than Donald Trump. Here's what he had to say about it this morning.
Are you concerned at all about President Bill Clinton being deposed and that sets precedent for you and your family?
I don't like seeing him deposed, but, they certainly went after me a lot more than that. I don't like him. Look, I like him, and I don't like seeing him deposed.
He said that just a few hours before Democratic Congressman Maxwell Frost revealed that Clinton undercut one of the claims Donald Trump has been making about Jeffrey Epstein. Frost tweeted this, quote, "President Clinton brought up a conversation he had with Donald Trump in New York City regarding Epstein. President Clinton said that Trump told him that he had a falling out with Epstein due to a land dispute. This directly refutes Donald Trump's claims about why he fell out with Epstein." In a tweet, the Democrats on the House Oversight Committee say this, quote, "President Clinton confirmed that he knew Trump and Epstein had a close relationship and said Trump reported having, quote, great times with Epstein." Clinton's deposition is also adding to the questions about whether Donald Trump's Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutnick, should also testify. This photo appears to show Howard Lutnick with Jeffrey Epstein on Epstein's Island, along with a friend of Lutnick's, Michael Lerman. This photo was removed from the files by the Justice Department at some point and then restored last night. We cannot say definitively when this photo was taken, but emails show that Lutnick, his wife, and their children, as well as Lerman, visited Jeffrey Epstein in 2012. Lutnick admitted to that visit in a congressional hearing just a few months after he went on a podcast and said, quote, "I was never in the room with him socially, for business, or even philanthropy," end quote. I guess an island isn't a room. We have reached out to Lutnick's associate, Michael Lerman, and have yet to hear back with any comment from him. A former president's deposition underscoring the need for those in Trump world to also come clean about any ties to deceased sex offender Jeffrey Epstein is where we start today. Ben Weider is here. He's an investigative reporter for the Miami Herald. We've been reading and talking about his coverage this week for the last couple days. We're happy he's here. Also joining us, former acting assistant attorney general for national security at the Justice Department, Mary McCord, is here. Our friend Danny Bensky, a survivor of Jeffrey Epstein's, will join us at the table in a few minutes. Mary McCord, I start with you. Your thoughts about just how thorough the Oversight Committee has been and what you're seeing come out, perhaps not as the Republicans would have wanted. I mean, Bill Clinton is testifying about Epstein and confirming that in his sworn testimony that Donald Trump told him that they had a falling out over real estate.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple of ways to look at it. Once the people are in the room, it does appear that the Democrats and the Republicans are going to be asking a lot of questions. These depositions are going on for many hours, and I think the Democrats in particular are trying to, get some real answers and get to the bottom of things. And, maybe it's less about political theater than it might appear. But in terms of thoroughness, if you really wanted to, and I think maybe Hillary Clinton said something like this yesterday, right? If they really wanted to be thorough, I don't think they would be starting with someone like Hillary Clinton, who never appears in these files, who doesn't even know Jeffrey Epstein. And so you would really be looking through, like, who are the repeat players? Who are the ones we're seeing over and over again? Who are the ones referenced by other people? And let's talk to them. And so I feel like this has not been undertaken necessarily with a real goal of getting the most fulsome, and maybe this is the understatement in the world, maybe the most fulsome sort of record of what happened from the best possible witnesses, the people in a position that knew potentially or should have known or may have had some inkling of what Jeffrey Epstein was doing.
Ben, let me show you sort of the Howard Lutnick of all of this. Lutnick, Donald Trump's Commerce Secretary, who under no outward-looking pressure went on a podcast and lied this year as Donald Trump's current Secretary of Commerce, and then has had to, in more recent weeks, or after the files were released, go back before Congress and clean up his lie with an extraordinary statement. Let me show you both of those, and let's focus in on what today's hearing means for him.
So I was never in the room with him socially, for business, or for even philanthropy. If that guy was there, I wasn't going because he's gross.
I did have lunch with him as I was on a boat going across on a family vacation. My wife was with me, as were my 4 children and nannies. I had another couple they were there as well with their children, and we had lunch on the island. That is true, for an hour, and we left with all of my children, with my nannies and my wife, all together. We were on family vacation. We were not apart. To suggest there was anything untoward about that in 2012, I don't recall why we did it.
First of all, it's not like crossing the Delaware. I don't know what he means when he says, we went across. And then just this statement, we went, that is true, and we left with all my children, with my nannies and my wife. I mean, like the consciousness of exposure of risk, or of, I don't know, kidnapping, or of leaving behind, again, I want to quote him accurately, quote, all my children and my nannies and my wife is so stunning. What do you hear when you hear the lie that Lutnick in the subsequent clip sort of fesses up to? And then the statement that while he was crossing, the Caribbean in a yacht, they stopped there for lunch. Maybe the chef was on a bathroom break. I mean, it's a ludicrous state of the story of Lutnick and Epstein.
I think the lying is one of their most remarkable aspects, and it's something I haven't really understood. I mean, I'm not a psychologist, I'm a reporter. I'm a person who is perhaps scrupulously honest and to a fault at times, but I don't understand it, especially, why you would say this when you know that there is material that could come out that would directly undercut what you said. I just don't understand it. And I think, it's interesting when you think about Howard Lutnick and the issues he's facing. No one has accused him of doing anything wrong in connection with Jeffrey Epstein. So why he would lie about this when there was, evidence that could come out to do it, I just don't understand. And I think it's fair to bring in questions about the president as well on this matter. I would refer back to, reporting from a few weeks ago that Donald Trump had in 2006 called the Palm Beach police chief around the time of Jeffrey Epstein's initial arrest, saying, hey, I'm glad you got the guy. Everyone knew what this guy was up to. And hey, Ghislaine Maxwell, she's evil. And has since subsequently for years denied that he had never ever had any idea that they had done anything wrong, that Epstein had done anything wrong. I mean, the lying is, to me, what's really interesting here, because no one's accused Howard Lutnick, no one has accused Donald Trump, no one has accused, let's be clear, Bill Clinton of any wrongdoing in association with Jeffrey Epstein. But when you start lying publicly about what you knew, it really raises all sorts of questions, and you don't have a lot of credibility on the issue.